Indictment season is upon us, and we are on Donald Trump indictment watch here on the Midas Touch Network. The criminal indictment of Donald Trump by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office on multiple felony counts for falsifying financial records relating to hush money payments to porn star Stormy Daniels could happen at any moment. It could happen while we are live. It could happen in the next 24 to 48 hours, or it could happen later this week. But most legal observers predict that with testimony concluding on Monday, the indictment will now happen on Wednesday when the grand jury regularly meets. But we will discuss that in more detail here on the Midas Touch podcast. Donald Trump is bracing for indictments, and he is not handling it well. That would be perhaps the biggest understatement. He's attacking Alvin Bragg, George Soros, Ron DeSantis, Midas Touch, and President Joe Biden, ranting and raving like a complete and utter maniac on his social media platform. Yes, Donald Trump actually threatened to fight Midas Touch in a recent post that he made on his social media platform on Monday. It is not without some delight that as Donald Trump is about to get criminally indicted, that his final thoughts are about Midas Touch and the Midas Mighty and wanting to fight us all, I suppose. But what I take most delight in is not how desperate and deranged and weak and what a traitor he's been exposed as. No, it's that no person is above the law and that justice seems to finally be here. And as Donald Trump grows more desperate, he continues to reach into his old bag of fascist tricks, seeking to provoke another insurrection. And again, the usual MAGA Republicans are at their cult leader's side again, trying to obstruct justice and making a mockery of their positions by their disgusting anti-American cult behavior. We'll discuss that, of course. And in other news and indictment watch, let's turn to Fulton County, Georgia, where Donald Trump is terrified of another potential indictment there. We are learning that Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is considering RICO charges against Donald Trump and co-conspirators, with indictments that could be expected to come as early as this spring. And on Monday, Donald Trump filed a motion to quash the Fulton County Special Grand Jury report recommending criminal indictments, which still, by the way, remains under seal. He wants to suppress its use as evidence and also disqualify the district attorney Fani Willis and Judge Robert McBurney from future Trump matters, right? This is the typical Trump playbook. Play the victim, whine about unfair treatment, and try to delay. But his schemes and vexatious nature have now been exposed, and the wheels of justice continue to grind over him. More on indictment watch. Special counsel Jack Smith remains on the hunt. Trump attorney Evan Corcoran and Evan Corcoran's attorney Michael Levy were seen entering federal court in Washington, D.C. on Monday after being compelled to testify further before the grand jury based on the crime fraud exception to the attorney-client privilege that Corcoran tried to assert when it was determined by federal judge who oversees the proceedings that he may have aided and abetted Trump's obstruction of justice in connection with the theft of thousands of government records and top secret documents, which were concealed at Mar-a-Lago. And as we see the hate, the culture wars, the fake outrage machine, the cult behavior that has all come to define what the Republican Party is in 2023, the MAGA Republican Party. Let's compare that for a moment with normalcy and compassion and things that pro-democracy and Democratic leaders are doing right now, passing legislation to do things like guarantee free breakfast and lunch at schools and lowering the cost of insulin and focusing on jobs, delivering high-speed internet to 16 million more households, things that Americans want politicians to deliver. This is the Midas Touch podcast, and we are delivering to you a historic episode here today. Brett and Jordy, how are you both doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It's great to see everybody. Great to see you brothers. Great to see the Midas Mighty. I'm starting to think the Oscars were a little bit of a foreshadowing of what was to come with Donald Trump. Everything, everywhere, all at once. That seems to be the theme right now with the consequences for Donald Trump and the coming indictments of Donald Trump. And I'm just sitting here, guys, in my, little bunker that I got here where I edit the videos for the Midas Touch community, for the Midas Mighty, minding my own business today. And all of a sudden I get sent a message that, were we threatened by the former president of the United States? Did he call us misfits? Does he want to go on the attack? Is that what's going on? Are we in your head, Donald Trump? Then possibly the day before you get arrested? Oh, that is just too bad, Donnie. Too bad. But you love to see him, DeSantis, fight. You love to see it. Jordy, how are you doing today?
I am doing well, big bros. I cannot wait for the show tonight. Ben, I felt bad. I was reflecting on the previous episode when I put the picture of Brett behind me. And I'm like, Ben probably thinks that I don't know. I saw Ben when I was out in LA. He probably thinks that I'm showing Brett too much love and favor. So if you're watching the podcast right now, if you're only listening, I got a big photo of Ben behind me on my TV. So Ben, I love you, big bro. I didn't mean any shade by that.
There was no shade there. The only shade that was thrown was when Brett mocked the hotel room that I was in, and Brett said,
that was really messed up, Brett. That was really messed up,
and it was Jordy. I could bring back the tape. I never said that. Jordy said that, and then you keep acting like it was a Brett thing. I don't understand. I never said that.
When Jordy mocked the hotel room I was in, Jordy's like, Ben is evidently recording. Jordy said, Jordy said, Ben is evidently recording from his closet. And I said, this isn't my closet. I'm sorry, my hotel room doesn't meet your standards, Jordy, of what a hotel room can look like. But this is where I record. This is the bed. That's the bathroom. Those are the three things that I need to fight for democracy. You want to challenge that, Jordy, before I get into it?
It's not that I was making fun of I was just making fun of your setup. I want to be very clear. Like, I feel like you didn't have to just be that sort of cluttered. We could roll back the tape. It just felt like an awkward setup is what I was really poking fun at.
I'm glad you just admitted to it.
Okay, I'm glad that we've gotten down to it. It was Jordy who said it. Brett, I apologize for giving you any grief at all.
How dare you?
Let's get right into it, folks, about what's been going on today. So a New York interagency policy meeting took place earlier in the day about security when Trump is indicted, which is expected to occur this week. I guess we should still say if Trump is indicted, but at this point, it really is just a matter of when Trump will be indicted. And so you have New York police that's also meeting with Secret Service and others to try to make sure, as Trump tries to foment and incite violence, that the NYPD and that all the security infrastructure is prepared. So we saw today NYPD setting up steel barricades in front of the Manhattan Criminal Court in anticipation of criminal indictments. In addition, as well, Trump made a last-ditch effort to try to send a new witness before the criminal grand jury there. The witness that he sent was somebody named Robert Costello, who testified literally in the 11th hour. Trump at first ignored or rejected the attempts by the Manhattan District Attorney to invite someone in Trump's camp to testify on Trump's behalf. Individuals who are the target of criminal investigations by the Manhattan District Attorney have that opportunity. So the one witness that they wanted to call was this person named Robert Costello. Costello was once a legal advisor to Michael Cohen for a short period of time in 2018. Costello is also referenced in the Mueller report. After Cohen's apartment was raided, Costello had sent Cohen a message saying, "You have friends in high places, don't worry about it." Cohen ended up getting out of the MAGA-verse, but that is the message that Costello sent to Cohen. And then Costello said, I didn't. At first, he tried to deny that he was actually referencing a pardon from Donald Trump, which is clearly what it was about. He goes, no, I was referring to a song by Garth Brooks. That just goes to show you who these MAGA Republicans. But there's a song by Garth Brooks. What's the song, Brett? Friends in Low Places.
I get it. I get it. But
it's ridiculous.
But
then,
that's the.
But then later on, that's what he came up with, and then he admitted later on, oh yeah, I was talking about Trump.
Yeah, it was exactly. He was also the one who's representing Steve Bannon in connection with the contempt of Congress charges that Bannon was convicted of. And so he's always in this kind of MAGA orbit, kind of representing the MAGA people, spreading disinformation, doing the bidding for Donald Trump, referenced in the Mueller report as well. So they sent Costello in, I guess thinking Costello would just talk crap about Michael Cohen. The Manhattan District Attorney had Michael Cohen on standby to testify again on Monday in the event that Costello's testimony made a difference at all. And then the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, from the reporting that we know, decided that they didn't even need to call Michael Cohen, which again is a very bad sign for Donald Trump. That Costello was so bad they did not need to bring back in Michael Cohen to even rebut Robert Costello. But yeah, by the way, not only is having Robert Costello there was that a bad move, it was something that strategically could backfire on Donald Trump, because now you bring in this lawyer who potentially has attorney-client privilege with Donald Trump in the first place based on their relationship, and now he's potentially waiving attorney-client privilege there. So it's like a free shot that the Manhattan District Attorney's Office has to determine if other crimes were committed. And so I think that honestly, Alvin Bragg's office welcomed this testimony of Robert Costello. Like, oh, this is great. They're going to bring this Costello clown before us. They probably were laughing and just completely cracking up. I do want to say this one thing, because I think there are people out there who are surprised that Alvin Bragg is going to be the first to criminally indict Donald Trump of all of the district attorneys. And while it was a very unpopular opinion that we held here on the Midas Touch network and on the podcast, because whenever I would say it's Alvin Bragg, oh man, would the comments say, what are you talking about? Bragg is weak. Bragg is this. I mean, there were some rough comments. By the way, we had Alvin Bragg. And by the way, as I told people, I get the frustration, especially when Pomerantz and Dunn, they resigned when Cy Vance had the grand jury regarding the financial crimes still pending. And then that grand jury was kind of shut down. But Alvin Bragg had always said that he was still investigating that. He just wanted more time. He's focusing on the hush money payments, the payments that were made to Stormy Daniels first, and their falsification of business records. This can be charged as a felony. Donald Trump can serve up to 4 years in prison for these charges. It'll be charged likely multiple counts. But where we got our data from, where we got our information from, is from the source. Like, we had Alvin Bragg on the show. The show, one of the co-hosts is Karen Friedman Agnifilo, who's been with the Midas Touch Network for over a year now. She's the number 2. She was the number 2 of all of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. She was an acting Manhattan District Attorney when Cy Vance was not in the office. There's literally no one with more experience in the entire planet than Karen Friedman Agnifilo. And she was providing guidance throughout this whole process and procedure. And it's so great to see Karen Friedman Agnifilo on all of the shows now. But it also kind of reminds me when we had Simon Rosenberg and Tom Bonnier pushing back on the red wave false narrative, and no media would ever have them on their networks because the media wanted to push red wave in the midterms. And we had Rosenberg, we had Tom Bonnier, we had the data people on. And then immediately, once it was clear that the fake narrative the media was pushing was false, and the real narrative was based on facts and observation and data they were on, or it's very similar and reminiscent. And it just shows you just got to do your homework, and you got to go to the source, and you got to get the information. And here you have it. Alvin Bragg is likely to criminally indict. That's likely going to happen on Wednesday from all of the reporting.
Yeah, and that's why we always say, at least I always say, the goal of reporting in general should not just be balance. Balance to me is useless, because if you're balancing between the truth and a lie and you're getting somewhere in between those two things, guess what? You've lost the truth. So in order to report the truth, you got to stick to the truth and only the truth. And that's what we try to do here. Obviously, we have our opinions about things. Obviously, we are very opinionated about things, but you always have to lead with the facts, with the truth, with the experts. And this is also just coming in just to let
breaking news
know,
alert right
this
here.
is a breaking news alert that all NYPD officers, including plainclothes detectives, have been ordered to wear their full uniform tomorrow, which is Tuesday, beginning at 7 a.m. Eastern, ahead of a possible indictment of former President Donald Trump. That's from a police source to CBS News. You heard that right. All NYPD officers have been ordered to wear their full uniform tomorrow, beginning at 7 a.m. in anticipation of a possible indictment. As we said, it could happen tomorrow, could happen Wednesday, could happen later in the week. But one thing is for sure, and as we saw today, when I saw this and I said, stuff's getting real, folks. Stuff is getting real. Once you actually saw them bringing out those steel barricades in front of the courthouse, when you see the reactions by Donald Trump, by his attorneys on television, by his families, they know what is coming. They know that the jig is up. They know that their back is against the wall, and everything they do right now just reeks of utter desperation. And they're going to just keep digging this hole deeper and deeper and deeper. And we are just here to bring you the play-by-play of all that as it happens.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big breaking news update right there. Again, that all NYPD officers, including plainclothes detectives, have all been ordered to wear their full uniform tomorrow, Tuesday, beginning at 7 a.m. in the morning, before possible indictments of former President Donald Trump. Police sources are telling CBS and some other news outlets. And I want you to think about this for a moment, too, in terms of the timing of what took place. So you had Robert Costello finish his testimony on Monday. They had Michael Cohen there to testify after. They did not need Michael Cohen's testimony at all. So after Costello, it is possible that they indicted at that point in time, and that a message to Trump's team could be happening. As of the time we recorded, one of Trump's lawyers had said that they did not get the message yet that the indictment had actually happened, but that vote could be happening Tuesday morning. The way these grand juries
tonight, right? I mean,
it could happen. It could happen at any time. Now, they usually have a regular kind of court business day, when they're out by the end of the afternoon before the evening hours, and they've been meeting on Mondays and Wednesdays. But with something as significant as this, and with their work wrapping up, it's not impossible, of course, that they would say, hey, let's work until the night. Let's show up tomorrow morning. We don't need to be here on Wednesday, and let's take the vote immediately. And so this could be happening on Tuesday. Very, 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 very possible. And Brett, you mentioned Donald Trump's posts, his reaction to this. I mean, we know that he's a maniac, right? We know that he's a traitor. He posts some utterly despicable stuff. But when his back's against the wall, when he's the cornered rat, traitorous, disgusting, despicable rat that he is right now, all he has are posts, are social media posts. Like, how weak are you? And how weak are you, the MAGA Republican Party, that the types of posts that we're about to show you scares you? He's being mean. He put it in all caps. He put it in all caps with exclamation points. He gave me a mean nickname. Oh my God. Oh, he's going to tell the followers. He's going to call me De Sanctimonious. Wow. It is astonishing to me that actually moves a political party, like that they are so afraid and so scared of it. And you see it in the messages by Fox. You see it in the messages by these Republicans, how they actually hate Donald Trump. Yet they are so weak and cowardly that they can't speak up against it. And we were talking about this before the show, Brett, that these MAGA Republicans have absolutely no power, right? They want power, so they basically follow and do anything that Donald Trump does. But unless you are so obsequious, unless you are full-fledged cult, bizarre, you got to say that there's like Hugo Chavez is coming back from the dead to beam algorithms into and changing, like, unless you're like just doing that, then you're a rhino. Then you're a uniparty rhino, you're a Democrat, you're George Soros funded. And if all of the Republicans, just got together and basically said, no, this guy's a maniac traitor, you're done, you could get rid of this cancer right away. But they're not.
Immediately.
They are utterly afraid, and that's the difference. And there's a reason why on the MAGA Republican side, for a lot of these MAGA Republican members of Congress, being a member of Congress is like the best possible job they could ever get, right? And for a lot of the Democrats, being a member of Congress is about public service. It's about doing something for the actual community. And for the MAGA Republicans, these are people who are like, look, all I got to do is spread conspiracy theories and I'm going to get a 6-figure job, and that's what they do. And they just lie and lie and lie. And they have pins of AR-15s because it's the best. They can't be employed anywhere else. If they
You're
were in
so right.
If they were in any other company and they walked around with, unless they worked at an AR-15 gun manufacturer and they walked around with AR-15 pins and started like saying the stuff that they say and harassing people, like you'd be like, oh, who is this person? Like, can you get rid of this? Like they can't function anywhere other than as a Republican Party.
Ben,
period.
It's so true. I mean, that is such a good point. These people are unhireable anywhere. I want our audience, I want our listeners to just ask yourself, would you hire any of these MAGA Republicans to do the simplest thing? It could be around your house. It could be your place of employment, wherever. Would you want them at your place of business if they weren't doing what they're doing now? The answer, by and large, is absolutely not. These people are totally unhinged. They're lunatics.
Before we get into the Trump response, the Trump reactions, and Trump's attack on Midas Touch, on this note, I want to just go over to the Senate for a second, because this really is the epitome of the point that we are making. Did you guys see this Rand Paul post, which is one of the most insane things that I have ever seen? And it's saying a lot. So Rand Paul does this post on Twitter yesterday, and he writes, "Can you believe Hunter Kimball was disciplined for wearing this shirt in Utah?" And you see Rand Paul next to a young kid who I guess was disciplined in school for wearing a shirt. Now, let me explain to you, the listeners, let me paint a picture of what the shirt is. So the t-shirt that Rand Paul was so appalled that this young child was disciplined for wearing in the state of Utah, the t-shirt is called 69 and Guns. And what the t-shirt depicts are AR-15s 69ing each other in the shape of the American flag. And the sexual...
Is that how you say it, Brett? Do you 69ing each other?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, these guns are
technical name.
69.
No, I'm on Brett's side. That's the technical name.
In the shape of an American flag. And this Republican senator was so appalled that this guy would possibly be disciplined in school for wearing a shirt called 69 and Guns, which depicts guns in a lewd sexual act.
Brett, is it also trying to depict the American flag too?
Yes,
like,
yes. It's in the shape.
So you got your terminal. It's AR-15s 69ing each other, and then you've got that's then the American flag. It's like also disgrace for all of them. Oh, we stand by the flag, support the flag. You've got AR-15 69ing the flag, and then you've got Rand Paul who's making that a major. And then you've got a senator, a MAGA Republican senator, saying, why would you ever suspend this kid for wearing 69ing AR-15 the flag? And it's like, because it's inappropriate. Brett, here's what I want to do as we go through, this point that we're making. Like, if anybody said any of this stuff, like they couldn't work anywhere else. So let's just go to the cult leader himself and let's look at the post. But here's what I'd like to do, Brett, if possible. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, Brett, but the way you pulled up 69ing the flag, I think you can rise to the occasion right here, which is what I'd like to do is show a Trump post. And then what I want to do is then show a Biden post. So I want to read the Trump post.
I think I can handle that.
You think you can handle that? So let's first look at this Trump post. And this is what he said in response to his imminent criminal indictment by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. He goes, now illegal leaks from a corrupt and highly political Manhattan District Attorney's Office, which has allowed new records to be set in violent crime and whose leader is funded by George Soros, indicate that with no crime being able to be proven and based on an old and fully debunked by numerous other prosecutors, fairy tale, the faraway leading Republican candidate and former president of the United States of America will be arrested on Tuesday of next week. Protest take our nation back. And that's obviously trying to incite another insurrection style event. He has that all in caps. It's a barely comprehensible statement. Everything he's saying there is false. Then he throws in the anti-Semitism, blaming George Soros. By the way, most people right now don't even know who George Soros is. Like, who's this George Soros that they're talking about? And he mentions George Soros because he's trying to basically say the Jews are behind all of this. And that's the dog whistle to his base every time he says George Soros. And that's what, when Ron DeSantis goes, George Soros led prosecutors, that's basically what they are saying there. Thank you. Right out of Adolf Hitler's playbook. So let's compare that though to what President Biden says. So President Biden says 16 million more households now have affordable high-speed internet because our infrastructure investment. That's a real difference, lowering monthly costs for families. So who would you rather?
Has he even heard of the caps lock key? I don't even understand.
Let me show you the next one by Donald Trump. It's time. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. We are a nation in steep decline, being led into World War III by a crooked politician who doesn't even know he's alive, but who is surrounded by evil and sinister people who, based on their actions on defunding the police, destroying our military, open borders, no voter ID, inflation, raising taxes, and much, much more, can only hate our now failing USA. We just can't allow this anymore. They're killing our nation as we sit back and watch. We must save America. Protest, protest, protest. And then let's pull up President Biden post, for example. Like, what is Biden saying that we've unleashed? As Trump is trying to unleash hate, Biden's like, this administration is unleashing a made in America manufacturing and innovation boom. Or how about this post by Biden? Over the last 2 years, 10.5 million new small business applications have been filed, strengthening the backbones of communities across the country. This compare and contrast, I think, is very important so we can never forget what normalcy looks like. I want to point out who the MAGA Republicans are, but we can never lose track. That's not normal. Do not let large media networks gaslight you, Brett. And as Donald Trump says, protest, protest, protest. Did you see when they asked Kevin McCarthy what they meant? And Kevin McCarthy's like, yeah, he says that, but he didn't mean protest. That's not, we don't think you should protest. Donald, do we have that clip of Kevin McCarthy going all in to support Donald Trump? If we've got that clip, play that one right now.
I don't think people should protest this, no. And I think President Trump, if you talk to him, he doesn't believe that either. I mean, I think the thing that you may misinterpret when President Trump talks, when someone says that they can protest, he would probably be referring to my tweet, educate people about what's going on. He's not talking in a harmful way.
Come on. Come on.
Kevin McCarthy is the single most cowardly speaker of the House in the history, most spineless, honestly, maybe person in American history, an actual traitor to this country, the weakest speaker of the House, just an absolute disgrace. This guy selling out the United States of America, taking the back of a criminal who is about to be indicted. This is just the most abhorrent behavior you could possibly imagine. And playing these 1984 type word games where you're like, oh, he said protest, 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 take our country back. He did it. You thought he meant take the street. You thought he meant protest. No, he meant we should educate ourselves on the legal system. That's what Trump meant. Shut up, Kevin.
How about Mike Pence? Do we have the clip of
Ben, real quick? Can I just say this real quick about McCarthy, though, too? If you look at his body language when you're looking at that clip, I mean, he knows, and this makes it even worse. He knows how spineless he's being. He's not even looking forward. He's doing this weird thing with his hand, like he's trying to dust off something on the podium. And then when he finally does look up, he's not looking at the reporters or anyone speaking. I mean, the guy is a complete coward. And this is the same person who the day after January 6th went on and said, the president deserves some responsibility for the actions that day. And now he's saying, oh, he didn't mean protest. He didn't mean, what's wrong with this guy?
Well, and the thing is, too, whenever they talk about, oh, New York with violent crime skyrocketing. Okay, the most violent crime like in the country are in Republican areas, are in Republican-led states, and are in Kevin McCarthy's district, which he totally ignores. By the way, that's what Killing County is about, the docuseries that I made with Colin Kaepernick. If anyone hasn't watched Killing County on Hulu yet, you'll see Kevin McCarthy's district, which is Killing County, highest police shooting deaths in all of the country, highest crime rate, highest homicide rate in the country. That is Killing County. And by the way, that is a theme in all of these MAGA Republican-led states. They tend to have the highest crime in the country, and they want to always blame this on, oh, it's Democrats this, Democrats that. No, you got to focus on what's going on in your own backyard. This is what Donald Trump said as well. This is what he posted too. He goes, our nation is now third world and dying. The American dream is dead. I'll read that in a moment, but I think we got the Pence clip. So let's play the Pence clip first, and then I'll read this one for you. Play the clip.
I'm sure you've seen Donald Trump is saying that he's going to be indicted on Tuesday. He's calling for people to protest. Now, we don't know if that's true. The Manhattan DA has not said anything about it, but he's calling for people to protest. Is that irresponsible?
Well, first, let me say I'm taken aback at the idea of indicting a former president of the United States at a time when there's a crime wave in New York City. That the fact that the Manhattan DA thinks that indicting President Trump is his top priority, I think, just tells you everything you need to know about the radical left in this country. It just feels like a politically charged prosecution here, and I, for my part, I just feel like it's just not what the American people want to see.
You don't speak for the American people, you weak traitor, okay? You are the phoniest and weirdest piece of crap that there is. Donald Trump tried to kill you, okay? You were the target of his murder attempt. Well, he tried to kill me, but the radical left... The radical left believes that the person who tried to murder me and kill my family and rip my limbs apart and hang me, the radical left believes that that individual should be prosecuted. I think the American people do not want to see such a person. You don't speak for the American people. It's that same bit that he does. I mean, you go back, you look at the Kevin McCarthy clip, you look at that. These are phony, disgusting people, right? There's nothing lower and more phony than these fake, disgusting, despicable people who Donald Trump has threatened and attacked. And again, because Trump's mean to you. I mean, does Pence think that he's going to be the president of the United States? No, you're not. Any single time that Donald Trump wants to throw you under the bus, he is. I got to do my impression, Brett, then I'm going to throw it to you.
You got to do it. I'm not going to get in the way of your impression.
Where Pence goes, it's the same thing where he goes, they ask him, they go, well, they tried to kill you, so why were you supporting their campaigns? Like, they called for you to die, right? And then Pence is like, well, I'm a Christian, okay? And then I'm a conservative next. And third, okay, I'm a Republican. And you see, because I am those three things, if someone wants to kill me, if you are one of those three categories, kill me. Kill my family. I will support you. every step of the way. I will support you. Why? Because my Christian faith. I think these radical leftists are out there. They're wokeism. They're spreading woke ideology all around you. Woke, CRT. But look, the person who said that they wanted me to die, that said that they wanted me murdered, that is my friend. Because they are a Republican. That it is. Sorry, Brett. I had to do
Ben. I gotta say, the Pence impression before we give it to Brett gets better and better every pod. Great,
because he's playing a part. He's just phony. Like he wakes up and he's like, "I'm going to play the role of some weirdo, fake Christian conservative Republican." All right, ready? He probably wakes up. He looks at himself in the mirror. He looks at himself. He rehearses. He goes, "Okay. So Christian, conservative." Republican. Oh, that's a good one. Okay. Woke, radical. Brett, you go.
Well, I was actually going to make a similar point and say, well, they all are actors. They all are bad actors. And in some cases, they are actually people who wanted to be actors and failed at it and then got into politics. As we see, that's why you often see like these people in these like weird kind of old movies that end up coming out. But all you got to do is even look at like Ted Cruz's Twitter feed. I'm sorry. I don't want to bring you that pain. So I'll just tell you what's on Ted Cruz's Twitter feed. But what Ted Cruz does is he will say an inflammatory statement that he knows is BS. Like, I just went to his page right now. The top tweet says, "The left is weaponizing our legal system. George Soros," another anti-Semitic dog whistle, "has invested tens of $millions into electing radicals like Alvin Bragg." The second post, "Find out more on our latest podcast," with a link to his podcast. Every tweet on Ted Cruz's page has the same format. "Make no mistake, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg is a partisan Democrat who hates Donald Trump. Bragg doesn't have the right to abuse and corrupt the justice system to persecute his political opponents." Next tweet, "Get the facts on our latest podcast." Link to his podcast. Every Ted Cruz tweet is an advertisement for his podcast or his YouTube channel. Because all these people care about is that. They don't care about Donald Trump. Some of them might do, like a very small percentage might, but they just want to ride this wave out. But the thing is, they are getting crushed, by the way. Before I move past this point, I just want to say that it should be fairly easy for a reporter in those moments when you're with a Mike Pence to say, "Hey, did you know that crime in New York is actually down 20% year to date? So where are you getting your statistics? In your district, crime is actually up XY percentage." Why can't you just rebut it right there and get rid of this ridiculous talking point that they're using to deflect? It seems easy enough to me. But anyway, I digress.
Let me answer that. Because the legacy media, they don't care about the truth. They like the volatility. They like stoking the flames. Whereas, honestly, the truth is crazy enough. All they have to rely on are the facts, and people will tune in. We're seeing it here with the Midas Touch Network. Shout out Midas Mighty. We're almost at 1 million subscribers. I think we're 28,000.
Here are the facts. Year-to-date murder, robbery, rape, all down in New York City, 20%. 20% in the past year. So take that talking point and shove it. But, the Republicans...
I'm sorry. Why. I thought I was on a roll for a second. My bad. I didn't know I wasn't. It's all good. Go ahead, Ben.
Oh no, go for it. If you're on the roll, go for it.
No, all I'm saying is shout out to the Midas Might. This is why people come here. People like truth. They like facts. We're 28,000 subscribers away from the million. So please subscribe right now if you're listening and watching. But in all honesty, Brett, I truly believe that is why these reporters don't push back. Because those statements, they know that they'll get clicks on social media or be able to book their next guest. These mainstream, the legacy media is letting us down in a time where we need media to be our partners in this fact-finding mission. And so many out there just continue to drop the ball, whether it's for money or who they're beholden to. But screw that, man. That's the old school way of doing it, and it's just not going to be done like that for much longer. Not if we have anything to say about it.
Well, what they kind of do, right? It's like the ping pong narrative, right? Okay, here's what a progressive says. Here's what a conservative says. Here's what a progressive says. Here's what a conservative says. Both sides. It's all messed up. It's all crazy. Look at all no, that's not what it is. What Pence is saying is objectively crazy. Okay. Yes. There's no both sides to that. He was someone who was targeted to be killed by Donald Trump, and he's blaming woke left prosecutors and using ridiculous terminology like that to try to defend the person who tried to kill him. And he's using false stats that try to justify this false narrative. These MAGA Republicans are not conservative. They want to overthrow our democracy. There's absolutely nothing conservative about it. And frankly, the Midas Touch network is the beneficiary of the fact that the media has let people down, because people come here and they go, whoa, you've been saying it just like I've been saying it. Like, why have I been gaslight all this time by large media networks? There's actually a place where people, say the sky is blue when the sky is blue. People call fascists. Yeah, it's not that hard to do it. I mean, you just go, that's a fascist. That's a lie. And we can do it here with the detail that it's required, that large media networks are ignoring. What I want to do is go to this DeSantis clip. Because, and this is how it ultimately led to Trump both attacking DeSantis and Midas Touch at the same time. So DeSantis gave a press conference, and DeSantis was asked what his view was of the criminal indictments, the likely criminal indictments against Donald Trump. And so DeSantis had his talking points kind of all mixed up, right? On the one hand, he's like, okay, I gotta say woke. I gotta say woke prosecutors. I gotta say George Soros. Right. I mean, but then I'm running against Donald Trump. So let me try to throw in a jab. Let me try to also call out that he paid hush money to a porn star, because I'm going to be running against that guy. And it didn't really go according to plan. So here, first play this clip of what DeSantis said when he talked about what goes into paying hush money to porn stars.
You're talking about this situation with, and look, I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair. I can't speak to that.
So Donald Trump and MAGA world was not happy about that. It really reminded me when Pence did not go all in to support Donald Trump and support the criminal conspiracy of overthrowing Brett.
See, I'm not allowed to tell Brett he's on mute anymore.
He Mike Pence himself, which is what I was going to say. And it was it's really the perfect kind of way to go down in MAGA land. This is where all paths lead to your utter destruction. And I think it's important to show the other clip because it ties in here. Because this other clip where DeSantis is talking about the George Soros DA, woke DAs, woke this, woke that. While he's talking about that, he's getting in his talking points on the one hand, but on the other hand, I want you to listen to the subtext of his remarks. See if you pick up on it. I'll play the clip now.
I have no interest in getting involved in some type of manufactured circus by some Soros DA, okay? He's trying to do a political spectacle. He's trying to virtue signal for his base. I've got real issues I got to deal with here in the state of Florida. We're obviously shutting down CBDC, which is important. We've got so many things pending in front of the legislature. I've got to spend my time on issues that actually matter to people. I can't spend my time worrying about things of that nature. So we're not going to be involved in it in any way. I'm fighting for Floridians, and I'm fighting back against Biden. That's what I do every single day.
So let me just do a quick translation of his statement there. And the translation is, he starts off by throwing out the dog whistle. He throws out Soros. He throws out a little woke prosecutor, tries to disparage the investigation overall. But then what he ultimately says in his own DeSantis way is, Trump, you're on your own, buddy. Good luck. I ain't doing anything. And that right there, I think, just sealed DeSantis's fate, sealed Trump's reaction to DeSantis. And that is also, in addition to the hush money joke, I think that was almost even worse than the hush money joke about Trump, because it showed that DeSantis will not do anything. And by the way, I just want to say, DeSantis doesn't have the power constitutionally to do anything. The same way that Mike Pence did not have the power constitutionally to do anything on January 6th. But this is MAGA. This is a cult. And anything that isn't a full 100% measure is going to be viewed as a betrayal by the cult. So unless DeSantis rallied like the Florida State Guard or whatever to try to prevent the extradition of Donald Trump, which would never happen, can't happen, constitutionally can't happen, unless he went to the most extreme place imaginable, He was always destined to be dropped by MAGA for this because they view him as disloyal. They view him as a traitor to this movement. And the reaction against DeSantis, of which Trump has planted the seeds now for weeks and weeks and weeks upon these statements, the reaction was swift and brutal by MAGA world and by the Trump family and by all these Trump acolytes.
DeSantis contributed to the cult. He's part of a cult. And when you don't have a political party, in a political party, people could run against each other, right? That's just what happens, right? You don't have a situation where, you know, someone runs like in an open Democratic primary, right? You have a whole group of people, and then like, you know, Biden says something like, "How dare you do that?" like publicly, no, people are allowed to run against each other. But when your political party is a cult, not doing anything for the cult leader, it's just cult behavior 101, and DeSantis contributed to that cult. And I also like that DeSantis is saying, like, well, I don't have anything to do with, I'm too busy to deal with woke prosecutors. Like, I'm too busy like that. Like, I don't have enough time for that. You've manufactured the term woke without even knowing what it means. And your whole agenda is going after boogeyman woke prosecutors. So for you to say, I'm too busy to do that. You literally did that in Hillsborough County, Florida. Like, that's your number one agenda item is these phony culture wars. But then Trump posted this about Midas Touch and also referencing DeSantis. Here, pull it up for 1 second when we have it. This is what Trump posts where he basically threatens Midas Touch. And you could see there below for those watching and for those who are only listening on the audio, the post that we did over a year ago was a story that we broke. Exclusive: Ron DeSantis parties with underage girls at drinking party while teaching at a Georgia school. Ron DeSantis, after he graduated from college for about a year, taught at a private school in Georgia, this Darlington private school, and people there would say that he would party with the underage girls, and there are photographs and receipts about that. We posted that a year ago. Donald Trump took that post, and then he used it to attack both DeSantis and threatened to fight Midas Touch. We'll talk about that right after these quick messages.
Oh, hey, when did you get here? Let's take a quick break to talk about our next partner, Henson Shaving. Look, everyone knows how annoying cheap razors are. The cuts, the irritation, the frustration. And don't get me started with subscription razor services, the headaches that those can cause. That's why you gotta meet Henson Shaving. Henson Shaving is a family-owned aerospace parts manufacturer that has made parts for the ISS. That's the International Space Station and Mars rover, and now they're bringing precision engineering to your shaving experience. Razor blades, they're like diving boards. The longer the board, the more wobble, the more nicks, cuts, and scrapes. A bad shave, it isn't a blade problem. It's an extension problem. By using aerospace-grade CNC machines, Henson makes metal razors that extend just 0.0013 inches, which is less than the thickness of human hair. That means a secure and stable blade with a vibration-free shave. It gets better. The razor has built-in channels to evacuate hair and cream, which makes clogging virtually impossible. Seriously, Henson Shaving wants the best razor, not the best razor business. That means no plastic, no subscriptions, no proprietary blades, and no obsolescence. The Henson razor, it works with standard dual edge blades to give you that old school shave with the benefit of new school tech. Once you own the Henson razor, it's only about $3 to $5 per year to replace the blades. My first shave with the Henson razor was incredibly refreshing. The design is sleek and the durability is top notch. The Henson razor is truly much better than your run-of-the-mill quote-unquote traditional razor brand. And the affordability factor is absolutely game-changing. No more wasting your money on expensive blades. With Henson Shaving, you get a year of blades for just $5. Okay, so here's what you have to do. It's time to say no to subscriptions and yes to a razor that'll last you a lifetime. Visit hensonshaving.com/Midas to pick the razor for you and use code Midas and you'll get 2 years worth of blades free with your razor. Just make sure to add them to your cart. That's 100 free blades when you head to HENSONSHAVING DeSantis.com/Midas and use code Midas. Lock him up! Indictment season is upon us. Celebrate with the new Indictment season t-shirt and v-neck exclusively at store.MeidasTouch.com. Let's go! Let's go!
Is that your first time you saw that one, Ben?
Yeah, that one came out of nowhere. that was
Lock
so
him up!
That's so good. Those are the new Indictment season shirts, Jake?
Yeah, the new Indictment season shirts at store.MeidasTouch.com. There's only a limited amount of those, so definitely go get those while they last because they're going
Might be my
quick.
favorite yet.
But
so good.
yeah,
So good.
I'm excited to keep that going as long as we have the shirts in stock. But it took me a lot to get that inflection down and lock them up. Like it took me several.
It was quite jarring. Brett can see me in the backstage room during the ads, and I had a visible reaction. That was great. So let's pull back up the post of Donald Trump attacking DeSantis and Midas Touch right now. So this is what Donald Trump wrote in response to a story that we posted over a year ago. He goes, Ron DeSanctimonious will probably find out about, and this is all in caps, false accusations and fake stories sometime in the future as he gets older, wiser, and better known when he's unfairly and illegally attacked by a woman, even classmates that are, quote, underage or possibly a man. I'm sure he will want to fight these misfits just like I do. By the way, that's why I wanted to show y'all Joe Biden's tweets just so we could compare that to normal tweets. And I think he's saying at the end, I don't know, by the way, that photo is an authentic photo of DeSantis, partying with underage students at one of the school parties that's there. But is Donald Trump is saying he wants to fight us? Is he calling us misfits?
I think so. He's a little confusing and he writes like a toddler, and it's really all of his sentences are very oddly structured. But I think when you break it down, I don't think he's talking about the underage girls that Ron DeSantis is with. I think he's talking about their reporting, and he's talking about fake news, and he posts a link to the article and calls it a fake story, and he's warning against DeSantis. And look, they're going to come after you like this even more. And by the way, he's also kind of threatening DeSantis too. And by the way, I know a little more about you that I could put out there too if you keep this up. And so I think the only way to kind of take it ultimately is that he is calling us misfits, and that he's saying, I'm sure he will want to fight these misfits just like I do. Well, Donald Trump, name the time and play. Oh, what? I hear you're busy tomorrow, eh? Are you busy? Are you busy this week? Oh, that's too bad.
Can we show? Let me show you a real misfit, though. This is Don Jr.'s
misfits.
Misfits. Donnie doesn't want this smoke, y'all. Donnie does not want this smoke.
This is a real misfit. This is Don Jr.'s response to DeSantis. He makes this video like it's like really deranged, where it just like he's actually, everybody thought that Ron DeSantis was a good guy, but let me tell you, like I want you to watch this. I want you to watch Don Jr.'s video, and then I want you to watch this video that we're about to show you of Giuliani. Brett, you're doing the one finger right now?
Yeah, because I just want this to be absolutely clear that I did not edit Don Jr.'s voice in any way. I just want to, because you might think, come on, you sped it up, something. I did not do anything with this footage. This is Don Jr.'s response to Ron DeSantis.
That's what it is, guys. He's owned by the billionaire donors. 100% controlled opposition. Let's see which way the wind is blowing. Let's see which way they want me to respond, and I will do it. So I was hoping for a strong response, but we got a milquetoast response. We got weaker than most rhino Republicans. We got a weaker response than a lot of never-Trump Republicans. And guys, here's the deal. You can hire influencers to post videos of you dunking on what was like a hot Twitter take 10 days ago on some moron local reporter. You can get plenty of people to do that, as Ron has. But that doesn't make you ready for the big leagues. If you can't understand that this is a fundamental issue of our time, then you're not ready. Then it's not your time. As even people like Mike Cernovich, who have been big DeSantis supporters, just heartbroken that DeSantis doesn't understand what Soros DAs and the Bolsheviks are going to do to this country. He also said DeSantis blew it today. The only people saying otherwise personally hate Trump or we're never Trump in 16. And again, even some of those are coming out. And not just coming out like milquetoast, they're coming out significantly stronger than Governor DeSantis. Okay, again, I know when you're ready for the big leaps. I spent a lot of time with these guys. I spent a lot of time with DeSantis personally. The image created online by the paid influencers, guys, unfortunately, one-on-one, it doesn't exist. And this week made it clear.
I mean, it's
Come on.
You can't get more bizarre.
What-
I would say you
what-
can't get more bizarre than that, but I'm about to play you a video from Rudy Giuliani.
Wait, real
which you
quick.
can, but
Real
before
quick,
doing that-
why does it sound like Don Jr. is trying to do an impression of Don Jr.? And what the hell is milk toast? Have you guys ever heard of this milk toast? I don't even know is that code for something? I actually don't know what he's talking about.
Brett.
Yes, Jody, it's a word.
What the hell? That's
You've
it?
never-
That's all I get? Is it's a word? I've never heard of this thing before.
Yeah,
It's like a
milquetoast
milk
is like
toast is spelled
timid,
MILQUE.
boring.
Toast like a feeble person, a timid
Jordy,
person.
you can't go after somebody for lack of intelligence and not know the word. I mean, let's
Fair. So let's just take it back. Let's cut
gotta
that from
make
the
su- you gotta
pod.
ma-
Let's
you
cut
got to
that-
make sure
let's-
you're
let's
you got to
cut
make
that
sure
from
you're
the
armed with
pod.
the information or 100% sure before you go.
and
post
let's
back.
let's just make sure that we all reference the first thing I said, which is why does it sound like Don Jr. is doing an impression of Don Jr. Which
We'll just
it
we'll
does
just
sound
keep that in. We're not live in front of 14,000 people right now.
like. All right, that's how it's awesome.
Totally cool. Okay, so let me just show you before playing Giuliani. I'll just give you a flavor of all of the things that came out. This is Trump's spokesperson Liz Harrington responding to DeSantis's statement. She goes, "Are you kidding me? Say his name. What a total fraud he is. He takes a dig at President Trump." He's not president. He takes a dig at President Trump, who's being falsely accused and can't even say his name. It proves DeSantis is totally fine with a third world nation arresting their number one political opposition, not MAGA. This is some weirdo fascist cosplay. Like the way they even talk to each other. You got like Biden, like, we need to lower the cost of insulin and we need to bring more jobs. And thanks to my infrastructure plan, there's going to be 24,000 new infrastructure projects that are currently being built right now. Like normal world. Do I agree with Biden and Democrats on it? No, but like they're speaking a normal language. You got these like MAGA Republicans. It's like almost like third graders who watched a combination, and I know, and I'm sorry to third graders saying this, they watched the combination of like G.I. Joe meets kind of Russian propaganda, with also like alien movies. Like, and they combine that together and they're like cosplaying in these costumes. Like, are you kidding me? Say his name. What a total fraud. MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. MAGA
Regime. Third world regime. They're coming after you.
These are Bolsheviks. The Bolsheviks are coming. It's like, what planet are y'all, what planet are y'all living in that these are the things that you think about every day? They wake up and they're like, oh my God. Pronouns, everybody. Oh, Dr. Seuss. Oh my God. Have you seen the freaking purple M&M? Have you seen the purple M&M? And by the way, this one gets me because all of you out there, if you ever go to one of these trade conferences, like whatever it is, like if you're like an orthodontist or a dentist or a lawyer or a teaching convention or a plumber, whatever your trade is, teacher, whatever your trade is, cooking, there's always these conventions, right, where they have panels. I still can't get over the fact that at the CPAC, which is like the big Republican convention, they have a big banner that says we're all domestic terrorists, and their panel that people go and see is a panel of January 6th terrorists, of January 6th insurrectionists, talking about how you could do another insurrection. I kid you not. It is a panel of January 6th insurrectionists that are featured at CPAC, where people show up and watch the January 6th insurrectionists. It is utterly absurd. But you have people like objectively, okay, let's not talk about, let's try to remove for a second this idea of this political party, that political party. Like if you watch that Don Jr. thing, Bolsheviks, to your point, Jordy, milk toast, like
my point.
What are these people talking about? But
Yeah,
I want to show you this because it's all a grift at the end of the day too. And so, they're also on Cameo. And they're also on these weird social media platforms that they create. And, and for a few $100, you could pretty much get them to literally say anything. So someone tested the theory and said, what can I get Rudy Giuliani to say on Cameo? And, because on Cameo, it's one of these services where you write a script and, they could wish you happy birthday or they could say these things to you. So there's one person wrote a script for Rudy Giuliani just to prove the point that these MAGA Republicans have no standards. They'll just say anything for like, $100 bill. So watch Rudy Giuliani on Cameo. And by the way, Rudy Giuliani is not a fringe figure, right? He is a leader in the MAGA Republican movement. He's Donald Trump's lawyer. He's a key figure that if you're with this crew, right? If you're like, my crew is this team, this guy, Rudy Giuliani, he's on your team. He's your leader. Watch this.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here's my handle. Here's my spout. When I get all steamed up, hear me shout. Tip me over and pour me out. I'm a very special teapot. Yes, it's true. Here's an example of what I can do. I can turn my handle into a spout. Tip me over and pour me out.
Come on.
Okay, but this
I was
is him.
hoping when I saw that, I was like, I hope this is one of those AI fakes. I hope this is ChatGPT.
No, here's the right-wing propaganda Newsmax. So Fox was so scared that Newsmax was going to take their viewers, right? And so this is recently, they had Rudy Giuliani on to basically talk about the indictments that are coming of Donald Trump. And so first the host is like, oh, she's like, I love you. So she's like, oh my God, you're on the screen. I just got to tell you, I love you. And then Rudy Giuliani is just play this clip.
This is the technical issues.
Yeah.
It's Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Always amazing to see you. Love you. Sorry, I'm just so honored, always to interview you, sir. Mayor Giuliani, what would you do? What would you have done if this case was brought before you? You prosecuted a lot of cases before you became New York City mayor. You were a prosecutor. What would you have done if somebody said, "Here's the case, prosecute this"?
Rudy's adjusting his camera with his
here's
hand.
what I would have done. I would have told them to go to hell. I had it happen.
Come on.
His mic is cut out.
It looks like we're having some audio issues there.
We go way back to 19.
But just how imagine having a guest on, right? Who's as just any guest, yet alone a guest as like disgusting and deranged as Giuliani. And she's like, I love you. I love you. I mean, it's a really bizarre cult. And why I think it's very important that we call out the contrast, though, is that the large media networks would show you Don Jr. and Giuliani and all of this, and they would say, that's conservative. Mm-hmm. These are just conservative. And I'm like, okay, what's conservative about that? These people
and here's America. What they'd say. Here's what they say. And Republicans are going on the offense against Manhattan prosecutor who is taking down Donald Trump. Like they would frame it almost like that. Like, look at these people going on the offense. Look at the strength of the Republican Party, not the fact that these people are flailing from a place of weakness and that they themselves are weaponizing the government against their political enemies and are trying to interfere in local and state prosecutions. That is what is happening, folks. I mean, give me a break. Stop giving these people more credit. Stop the flowery language about what they're doing. Stop trying to make it sound normal. It's not normal. None of this is normal. The Republicans created a weaponization committee against the government that literally is designed to be weaponized against that is literally designed to weaponize the government against the Democrats, against their political enemies. They are doing what they are pretending to try to prevent. Like, why can't you just say that directly and clearly what's going on? You have people like, do you want to get into more of McCarthy?
One sec, real quick, because I just want to say this about Rudy, since I'm wearing the New York shirt. So many of our viewers and listeners might not know, we're all originally from New York. We grew up on Long Island. And so when we grew up, when I was like 9 in 2000, 2002, 2002, going into friends' houses, the way people would talk about Rudy Giuliani, man, I mean, the fall from grace that this guy has genuinely had. And you could go back now and look at his policies and debate whether or not he was effective at his job. But the way folks would talk about this person, he was beloved. Like you can't deny that in New York. He genuinely was a beloved figure at that time. He was America. He was America. Man, I just cannot believe what happened to Rudy. Don't you guys look at him and just like, what bizarro world? What happened to you, Rudy? What happened to you, man?
He's a little teapot. Sure.
Come on.
Here, but that's what happened to him, Jordy. He became a little teapot, and ultimately, where are you going with this, Ben? Ultimately, for that little teapot, he was just a grifting little teapot. And here's the thing about when you allow Donald Trump and the cult of Trump to take over your political party and turn the Republican Party into a cult. It isn't tethered to any values or views. It doesn't make sense because Donald Trump is deranged. It doesn't make sense. You just have to understand he's a malignant narcissist. He's an authoritarian. He sees himself to America as Kim Jong-un sees himself to North Korea, as Vladimir Putin sees himself to Russia, as a line of authoritarians have seen themselves as the nation. America, because for all of our differences that existed between political parties, would usually agree that we didn't want that, and we had constitutional safeguards to try to prevent that. But it relied to some extent on good faith between political parties, and where political parties have now disagreed with the MAGA Republicans saying that they don't care about democracy, and the Democratic and pro-democracy coalition saying they care about democracy. Fundamentally, for MAGA Republicans, they've looked at the equation on the map. They've looked at demographic shifts in the United States of America. And rather than say, hey, we should put in the hard work to try to appeal to where America is going, they've said, no, we need to maintain our existing privilege as it exists now by using the levers of a weaponized government, using all of the tricks, right? I mean, you want to talk about Bolsheviks and what Don Jr. is saying. Donald Trump's social media platform is named Truth, which is literally what the Russian Communist Party's propaganda paper was called, Truth. Like that's what they called it. It's worth. The playbook is almost identical, right?
Yeah.
January 6th insurrection, the march to Rome, right? You can literally find the parallels there. And that's what Donald Trump reads. That's what his supporters read. And they support those types of tactics. They've abandoned democracy. And so what you get, for example, is like what took place in the House of Representatives. And frankly, it is also, one, because of gerrymandering, two, because the media presents this choice of this. Here are Democrats, here's Republicans. Republicans, they care about the economy. They're fiscally conservatives. They're financial eagles. So they're financial hawks. They come up with stupid names for them. Like, with what plan? Their plans crash the economy. They now call Wall Street woke. I don't even know what they're freaking talking about, these idiot morons. They've
lost the plot.
They're not fiscally conservative. They're not politically conservative. They're freaking cultist moron traitors is what they are. I'm like, I'm more conservative than these people. I believe in conserving our Constitution. I believe that America cannot default on its full faith and credit. Evidently, that's not what the Republicans believe anymore. So they should not be calling themselves conservative. Let's stop this false dichotomy. And I could do a whole rant on that for hours, but let's go right here. This is what the House Judiciary Chair, Jim Jordan, who also runs the Weaponization Committee, which has only shown that Donald Trump has weaponized the Department of Justice and weaponized the government when he was in charge. They've gotten absolutely humiliated in all of these committee hearings. But they sent a letter to Alvin Bragg, basically subpoenaing him, saying that a local prosecutor needs to show up before the House of Representatives. They're trying to interfere with his criminal investigation into Donald Trump. Like, I can't even tell you how unprecedented this is. The federal government, the House of Representatives, with there's nothing to do with any congressional oversight here, attacking a local prosecutor. It's the exact opposite when they go, oh, states' rights, states' rights. So they're attacking a local prosecutor for making local prosecutorial decisions and demanding Alvin Bragg show up in 3 days. It's a completely meritless subpoena. It's going absolutely nowhere with the letter, but it just shows you it's humiliating for it is embarrassing for our country that you have people like Jim Jordan and these MAGA Republicans on that committee and in the House that even exists.
No, it's incredibly embarrassing. And you're dealing with a person, especially with Jim Jordan, who is perhaps in the most hypocritical position of anybody else, somebody who defied all subpoenas when he was given subpoenas and now trying to interfere in a local prosecution. I mean, this is, they like to flip it and they like to say, prosecuting a president is like a third world communist dictatorship. And this is the stuff of third world countries and communist countries. And if they could do this to you, if they could do this to him, they could do this to you too. It's all a very kind of roundabout way of saying everyone is equal under the law. Everybody should be held equal under the law. Like, yes, that's exactly what we should be doing here. That's not what actually happens in banana republics. If you want to go there, is people like that get away with things all the time. And people like that do exactly what they are doing, which is go after their political enemies and not follow the rule of law. It's actually the opposite of what they are saying this entire time. Their whole thing is Russian propaganda. And for the most, basically everything they say is actually the complete opposite of what they say. But what we've seen with these Republicans, if they have anchored themselves to Donald Trump, and they are in a real catch-22 right now. They are sinking fast with the ship. And the person who is perhaps most right in the past few years, and you'll never catch me saying this on any other episode, is Lindsey Graham, who Lindsey Graham, when Donald Trump was running, said something to the effect of, if Donald Trump gets the nomination, he will destroy us. And we are seeing that happening right now in real time because they have no other option. I mean, this is what's happening right now. We are witnessing the destruction of the Republican Party as it is currently situated. Mm-hmm. This is going to be an absolute disaster for them in national races where they don't have a gerrymandering advantage. Like in 2024, they are setting themselves up for a ton of pain right now. This DeSantis Trump battle, this rift that we are witnessing right there, it is indicative of that pain that they are going to be feeling. Because say the long shot chance that a Ron DeSantis gets the nomination, which the only way I could ever see that happening is if Trump somehow gets like disqualified from even running or is like in prison. And even then I still don't know. But let's say for 1 second that happens. Do you think for 1 second these Trump people are going to be motivated to go to the polls to vote for Ron DeSantis, who Trump spent the last X amount of months calling a pedophile and calling a traitor for not preventing his arrest? That's the catch-22 right now of the Republican Party. So there's really only one move that all these people see. They're gaming it out, right? They're gaming it out. They're saying we have one move right now. Our move is to just go all in on Donald Trump. We're going to go down with the ship. We're going to try to grift as much as we can as the ship falls. Then we'll see where the chips land and we'll try to recreate or something when it all comes crashing down. Mm-hmm. Now, the people who might actually want to leave right now, they're in the situation where if they leave, they get crushed by all the other people who are in on that game. They get absolutely destroyed. So there really is no winning place. The one winning place, honestly, would be if all of them got together put their foot down, showed a spine, stopped whining about the mean tweets, and actually stood up to Donald Trump. And maybe, just maybe, that would involve them even going over to Democrats and saying, you know what, let's put country over party. We'll sacrifice an election or two, but this is the best for our long-term viability as a country and as an actual viable opposition party. But they will never do that. They have chosen their path. Now they are reaping what they sowed, and we are all here to witness it. I mean, it's really a sight to behold right now, what we are witnessing.
It's kind of it's kind of a variation of the prisoner's dilemma game theory. Although in the prisoner's dilemma, it assumes two rational agents. So here, okay, Jordy, milk toast, Jordy. Here,
come on.
Here, the only difference is why it's probably like the MAGA dilemma is that we have completely irrational agents acting irrationally and trying to have mutually assured destruction all at the same time and kind of cannibalizing themselves. So anyway, that's my view.
Well, I got my own analogy here. And guys, I'm a sports guy over here. So I was watching Molly's Game the other day, and Molly's Game is a poker movie for y'all if you don't know about it. And it just feels like these Republicans have dealt themselves like the worst hand that you could get in poker, which is that 7-2 offsuit, just because there's absolutely nothing that they could do with the position that they've put themselves in. So they've intentionally dealt themselves the worst possible hand. And now they just have to play it out and go all in because they have no other moves. And it's going to be incredible to watch in the sense that, Brett, to your point, in real time, where you're watching the destruction and implosion of an entire political party.
I'll give this to Donald Trump. He said he was going to drain the swamp, and it seems like we are currently watching the swamp be drained. We got a lot more to talk about, everybody. We'll be right back after this quick ad. Don't go anywhere.
Our next partner is AG1 by Athletic Greens. Now, I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day. I gave AG1 a try because I wanted better gut health, boosted energy, immune system support, and I hated taking pills and vitamins and wanted a supplement that actually tastes great. I take AG1 in the morning before working out, and it makes me feel incredible and just ready to take on my day. When I take AG1, I know I'm doing something good for my body, like giving my body the nutrition that it craves and covering my nutritional bases. I've tried a ton of different supplements out there, but this is different, and the ingredients are super high quality. I got started with AG1 because I used to take all these different pills and gummies, and frankly, what I was taking was expensive, and I didn't even know if it was good for me. But with AG1 by Athletic Greens, I know that what I'm consuming has the best ingredients and also tastes delicious. AG1 makes it easier for you to take the highest quality supplements, period. When I started my AG1 journey, very quickly I noticed that it helps me with, improved overall digestion, my energy levels were up, and just overall I was feeling great. It's just one scoop of powder mixed with water once a day, and it's a seamless and easy daily habit to maintain. The Midas Mighty asks me all the time, Jordy, how do you have so much energy to do these ad reads? Well, if I could only pick one thing, it's AG1 by Athletic Greens. Just one daily serving covers my day's nutritional basis and supports my long-term gut health with 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients. I can't think of another daily routine that pays off as well as AG1, which is why I trust the product so much. If you're looking for a simpler and cost-effective supplement routine, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/Midas. That's athleticgreens.com/Midas. Check it out. And now back to the video.
I was waiting to see if we were going to pop up again and go, treason season.
Well, in fairness, I did tell Brett to put that read after that read. And it looks like he went with his editor's choice and decided not to do it twice in one show.
Well, it was very intense. Let's talk about what's going on in Fulton County in the criminal investigation there. We know that the special grand jury there prepared a report. It mostly remained sealed. So who the special grand jury recommended be indicted, we don't know yet. Just so you all remember the process, the special grand jury only has the power to prepare a report to recommend indictments. That's different from the New York criminal grand jury, which actually has the power to indict. And so in Georgia, you don't have to take this two-step process, but Fani Willis, the district attorney, is taking this two-step process of first going to the special grand jury. They prepare a report. And then second, the report informs her decisions to then go to a grand jury and then seek the criminal indictments, similar to what Alvin Bragg is doing and did in New York. There is a grand jury that is currently assembled or has been assembled in early March in Fulton County. Not sure if that's the grand jury that is currently considering the criminal charges against individuals relating to Donald Trump's 2020 election interference. And then the next criminal grand jury in Georgia in Fulton County meets in May. They sit for a 2-month term. And so we'll either see indictments there, I think, in the next 2 months or in June or July, depending on which grand jury is ultimately going to be presented with evidence. But this didn't stop Donald Trump and his new lawyer, Drew Findling, to file a new motion regarding the report. Even though Donald Trump does it, that's Donald Trump's new lawyer for those watching.
Why are they all comic book villains?
And Drew Findling calls himself the $1 billion lawyer. He calls himself #1 billion lawyer.
Oh, he's got his own hashtag.
And yeah, and then he and Jennifer Little's the other lawyer. Jennifer Little had to appear before the criminal grand jury in Jack Smith's case, and he invoked the crime fraud exception to her attorney-client privilege claim there. So you've got the $1 billion lawyer representing Trump in this motion. Then you got Jennifer Little, who's has to testify before the criminal grand jury in Washington, D.C. for her involvement in Trump's theft of government records that he concealed at Mar-a-Lago, for which Jack Smith saying the attorney-client privilege does not apply there. And before it's even out that Donald Trump has even been indicted, they're filing a motion to quash, which basically means to throw out or just destroy, act as though it never exists, the special grand jury report, and also to remove Fani Willis from the prosecution. They're saying that she engaged in prosecutorial misconduct. They're saying that when the jurors spoke to the press, that was inappropriate. They're saying that they're blaming Judge McBurney, Robert McBurney, who presided. So they're basically blaming everyone without even knowing whether Trump is indicted. They're saying he's the victim of a witch hunt right here is what they're arguing. Witch hunt, witch hunt, witch hunt. And look, at the end of the day, all the special grand jury does is prepare a report that makes recommendations. The grand jury then criminally indicts. So the report has them so scared that they filed this motion to quash, which is absolutely going nowhere. It's going to be denied. But this also comes at the same time that we're learning that one of the charges that Fani Willis is considering is RICO or racketeering charges, essentially alleging this widespread conspiracy that Trump had with other insurrectionists, which could really elevate this crime to basically the state level version of a sedition or a treason if she charges him with that, which would actually be very, very, very serious jail time. And she's used RICO and racketeering charges before in gang-related cases there. That's often how it's used. So basically treating Donald Trump like a gang leader or a mafia. And basically with the RICO charge, you as the gang leader, because gang leaders often speak in code, right? So you get basically charged for the crimes committed by your followers or by your, by your muscle in the gang context or the mafia or your hitmen. You're charged with those crimes. So by imputing those crimes to Trump, imagine like the Oath Keepers and the 3%ers and the Proud Boys, their terroristic crimes as well, as they should, being imputed to Donald Trump. So that's another development there. And we're also learning that Donald Trump's lawyer, Christina Bobb, was asked to speak with Fani Willis's office. So as we always say, MAGA stands for Make Attorneys Get Attorneys, and it's absolutely no different here, whether we're talking about Evan Corcoran or Jennifer Little or Alina Habba or Christina Bobb or Rudy Giuliani or Jenna Ellis. The list goes on and on. But the $1 billion lawyer sees all of this and goes, "Sign me up, coach. I want to be a part of that team." And meanwhile, there's more developments with special counsel Jack Smith's investigation. Evan Corcoran, one of Donald Trump's lawyers, who, if I didn't mention on that list, I was saving for now. The federal judge had previously held that Evan Corcoran's assertion of attorney-client privilege, that his communications, direct communications with Donald Trump about obstruction of justice relating to the theft of records that were being concealed and mutilated and destroyed at Mar-a-Lago, based on the showing of potential obstruction of justice by special counsel Jack Smith, that Evan Corcoran would have to testify again before the grand jury. Corcoran tried to shield his testimony. And get this, Evan Corcoran took notes, folks, regarding his communications with Donald Trump. And the federal judge, right before she left, Judge Beryl Howell, there's a new judge that replaces Beryl Howell. They rotate the judges that oversee the criminal grand jury. She said, "Let me take your notes," swoop, and then gave it to Jack Smith. So Jack Smith has those notes of a conversation between Evan Corcoran and Donald Trump after they were aware that surveillance footage had made its way to Jack Smith, which showed that documents were being moved from the basement area where they were trying to hide it. And so what could be on those notes? Special counsel Jack Smith's investigation continues to heat up. Special counsel Jack Smith is on the hunt. So lots of big news there. And then I want to talk about this. We've been
real quick. Did you guys have any friends growing up with the nickname Mad Dog? Ben and Brett, did you guys any Mad Dog friends growing up?
I didn't have no Mad Dog friends.
Brett, how about you?
I didn't have any Mad Dog friends. Do you have Mad Dog friends?
I had one friend that we nicknamed Mad. The kid was an absolute lunatic. So
was it like was it a positive to him or
no? Yeah, very very much a. He was super athletic, this kid. So it was a good one. So props to Jack Smith for locking down the Mad Dog nickname.
Mad Dog.
I'm not going to show all of these clips. I was going to show one because they're all basically. Maybe I'll show two from this extremist fascist conference. Again, do not call it conservative conference. This fascist conference that was held in North Charleston, South Carolina over the weekend. And it featured the fascist leaders, if you will. So people like Marsha Blackburn and Nikki Haley and a bunch of others spoke there. And they focused on the main issues for MAGA Republicans. Like Marsha Blackburn said, like, the most important issues that we got to focus on right now: light bulbs and toilet flushers. Watch MAGA Republican Marsha Blackburn. These are the issues that they're talking about. It's so weird. Play the clip.
An ideology trying to take total control of their lives, whether it's your light bulbs, your toilet flushers, your shower heads, your gas stoves, or this week your washing machines. And I think if you want to make a lot of mamas unhappy, go for the stove and the washing machine. And it's a bit too far there.
I mean, it's just completely deranged. It's like deranged. What world are you living in? They make up their own conspiracy that Democrats are coming for gas stoves and washing machines. They blasted over all of their right-wing propaganda networks, and then they lean into it. And it's just a really weird thing. Like, Americans, we want to talk about, like, can we talk about jobs? Can we talk about increasing people's wages? Can we talk about improving access and affordability of education, lowering prescription drug prices? Can we focus on issues that do I don't agree with all the things Democrats do. I'm not like, okay, I'm a Democrat, so I just have to blindly say Democrats say this. I don't. But they're adults in the room actually talking about issues. And if I wanted to watch like a bunch of like weirdos doing like weird things, I would try to find some like fictional alien weird movie. Like, I don't want my politicians being a hybrid of G.I. Joe meets Russian propaganda meets alien movie. Okay, I don't need that meets Idiocracy, Jordy.
No, Ben, such a great point. I mean, look, the American people have no idea what the hell these folks are talking about, like, at all. They don't. They're so far, these MAGA Republicans are so far down this woke rabbit hole, this machine washing, the whatever the new phrases of the week, that they've lost the plot completely. I mean, did you guys hear that raucous applause after she delivered that washing machine line? No, of course. I heard 3 people clapping. Nobody knows what they're talking about. I say give them the mics. Let them keep talking. Let them keep just looking like lunatics. It's detrimental to the political landscape at large, but we're not going to change them between now and next election cycle. So let them keep tripping over themselves, because when it comes to Democrats, we're adults in the room.
I just want to let everybody know what this conference was called. They called this conference the Vision 24 Conference, as in this is their vision for America. This is their policy. This is what they want to bring to America. And they just rant and rave about made up conspiracy theories and issues that really don't affect people's lives and aren't happening to people. And I don't know if some of them have just convinced themselves that these are things because they're caught up in their own propaganda bubble, or if they are just pulling an entire ruse over people. But whatever it is just weird. And the whole cult right now of MAGA, the whole cult of this Republican Party is just strange. It's just not normal. This is not normal behavior that we are witnessing in any shape or form. We also had Nikki Haley there. Nikki Haley used to position herself as like, I am one of the normal ones, basically. She's like I am the young female future of the party. I bring a diverse perspective and I don't get caught up in these culture war things. Now she wants to run for president. And so she goes all in on all these dumb culture war things. So here is Nikki Haley. I believe in this clip, she claims that over 90% of elementary schools are under CRT.
What does that even mean?
I don't even know what that means, but let's listen to her tell it.
What would you have to say about the wokeism that's infiltrating the school systems?
Just the question.
90% of our American kids are now under critical race theory. And what that means is if a little girl goes into kindergarten, if she's white, you're telling her she's bad. If she's brown or black, you're telling her she's never going to be good enough and she's always going to be a victim. And that's wrong.
What is she even talking about? What world? They live in a made up world in their echo chamber that doesn't exist. And it's like, look, here's the thing, like pro democracy, the pro normal community, like we just want our kids to have a good education, right? We want our kids to be healthy.
Yes.
We want them to go to school. We want our teachers to be good. We don't want bad teachers, in the sense of like, we want to make sure that teachers have the amount of money that they need. They have the resources that they have. Like, we want to make sure they're equipped with the resources. That's like we want to make sure we want to support teachers when it comes to education. So like it's a very woke concept. I know.
Wow,
like we want to make sure that people like have access to medication. We want to make sure that woke, we just want to go about our lives. And then we've got, the toilet bowls, 90% under CRT. It's like,
and underneath that bombastic rhetoric about nothing, they are actually doing horrific things in their states also, that they seem to just be wanting to punish their own residents in their states. I mean, you see this Florida bill that was just introduced to ban girls from being allowed to talk about their periods in school. Is that supposed to be small government, to ban young girls from speaking about their own bodies? Have you seen the history textbooks in Florida that had to change due to DeSantis' anti-woke policies? They literally took out that Rosa Parks' story had anything to do with race. Do you see that? This textbook, they took out a line that said that Rosa Parks was asked to go to the back of the bus because of her race. And they put in its place, they just removed that line because of her race. And it just makes it seem like Rosa Parks was some Karen who refused to get up when somebody asked her to get out of her seat. I mean, this whitewashing of history is absolutely abhorrent. And these are the kinds of things that people should be taking to the streets to protest peacefully. These are the kinds of things, not to protest and riot because a dictator is finally getting the justice that he deserves, but protest because they are taking away your history. That's the kind of things that people should be caring about.
And they're using big government. They're using government to interfere with the normal process, right? With normal lives, like at every level, controlling a woman's body, using the government to do that, and to criminalize the woman's right to control her own body, using the government for that. You got people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert who want to tell people who they can marry who they can love and who they can marry, and using government to do that. They're using government to lie about American history. They're using government for, to attack their political enemies over and over again. I mean, again, this is the exact opposite of, any of the, because they stand for nothing. It's like a mutant Trumpian party. But Brett, give us some good news though. What are Dems doing?
Yeah, well, while you have the Republicans doing things like that, while you have Arkansas governor, and it makes me want to vomit to even say Arkansas governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, while you have her signing in a law called the Youth Hiring Act that allows children between 9 and 16 to enter the workforce without a need for an employment certificate, while you have the Republicans bringing back child labor, banning books, banning history, you have the Democrats like Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, who's a member of the Democratic Farmer Labor Party. It's an offshoot of the Democratic Party in Minnesota. He just signed a law guaranteeing free breakfast and lunch for all students in the state, regardless of their income levels. And look at the happiness of these children here. I'm going to play the clip for you. Look at what this really means to them, and look at the stark contrast between this and what Republicans like Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who are literally bringing back child labor, are doing. We have him signing the bill, a lot of kids around him. Of all the kids fist bumping the governor, hugging the governor. I mean, it's a really beautiful, heartwarming moment.
And that's honestly, the media loves to show DeSantis and all of, look, he's positioning himself. Like, there are great Democratic governors who are doing really great things for the people, and the media just totally, we don't ignore them here in the Midas Touch.
By the way, I haven't seen that clip on any legacy media channel, any at all.
And then let's talk about some of the other things Democratic governors are doing. I mean, you have Gavin Newsom in California, our state, who announced that California is going to be manufacturing their own affordable insulin for people. That's going to cost just $30 a month. I mean, you see these Democratic governors actually thinking of how can we make people's lives better? Do they get it right? Are they always perfect? No. But that mission of let's make affordable insulin for $30 a month, that is a massive deal that changes people's lives, that actually saves lives. It's a big, big, big deal. Also, you have the latest pharmaceutical company to come out to answer President Biden's call to lower the cost of insulin, capping costs at just $35 a month. That means that this moment in time, all three major drug makers, all three of them now have vowed to cut their insulin prices. That makes up 90% of the market. And that's because what did President Biden do? Did President Biden use the bully pulpit of the presidency at the State of the Union to talk about, they're out to get me, the investigators, the woke prosecutors, dishwashers, washing machines, doctors? No. President Biden made a call for the American people, and he said, I am calling on all these pharmaceutical companies to lower the cost of insulin. We could do it by law. We're trying to do it by law, but guess what? You could do it right now. He put the pressure on them, and it worked. And now 90+% of the market is now insulin $35 or less once these all kicks in. These are the kinds of things that really change people's lives. These are the kinds of reasons why people should get into politics. They shouldn't get into politics because you have Ted Cruz wanting to be an actor or promote his podcast. You shouldn't be getting into being a congressman or a Republican because you want to get super rich or super wealthy. You should get into it because it is service. You are serving your country. That's what you are here for. So enough of these cults, enough of these criminals. The American people are sick of it. Hey, I know I am sick of it. And one of these narratives that the media is now trying to push is like, oh, this is going to help. It's actually going to help Donald Trump if he's in prison. It's going to be the best thing ever for stop with the horse race stuff. Let this party burn down with him. We don't need this Republican Party. Then let's try to, from the ashes, find the people who know better, try to work together to actually build a better country that works for us all. That try to build a country that goes beyond this blatant corruption, this hypocrisy, the lies, the gaslighting. I am sick of it, and I know you are, Midas Mighty. And that's why we're in this fight together, though. And you know the stakes of all of this. And we've been bracing for this moment for a long time. Like Donald Trump's been bracing for this moment for a long time. And when everybody said it's never going to happen, it's never going to happen, we've been telling you it's happening right now. We are living through a moment in history. There's never been anything like this. And it is an honor and a privilege to be living through this moment in history with you, to be able to bring you the news every day, to be fighting alongside you. So, fellas, we got a heck of a week. We're going to be doing a lot of content. We're going to be bringing the play-by-play coverage on everything that happens. So buckle up, folks. It's about to get pretty wild, but I'm confident in our democracy here because I'm confident in you, the Midas Mighty, to make America the really dream that it should be. You guys are the ones who are going to turn this country around. And so let's all do this together. We're building a movement. We're on the road to the march to 1 million followers over here, folks. You see the subscribers gain, and people are tuning in. People want the truth. People want pro-democracy. People are done with the fascism. Please tell a friend about the show. Remember to subscribe to the Midas Touch podcast anywhere you find podcasts. Hey, get your Indictment season shirt, folks. This is one of my favorite shirts at store.MeidasTouch.com. In the description of our podcast, you will see links to all of the other podcasts on the Midas Touch Network. And we got a ton of great shows, including the newest show, Lights On, with Jessica Denson. Jessica Denson, a former Trump insider, the NDA killer who got all of Trump's NDAs totally voided with her lawsuit that she won against Donald Trump. Amazing insight from Jessica Denson. You got to check out Political Beatdown on Tuesday with Michael Cohen and Ben Meiselas. Who better to hear from on the Trump indictment updates than Michael Cohen directly? And Ben Meiselas breaking down the latest updates. We should be on Political Beatdown Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and make sure to check out that podcast. And check out our new podcast, also Majority 54, with Jason Kander, former Missouri Democratic Secretary of State, and Ravi Gupta, former Obama staffer. Folks, the network is growing. We are proud. We are honored to be in this with you. Let's keep going. Let's keep this momentum up. Let's keep pushing for justice. Let's keep pushing for the United States. Thank you, Midas Mighty. This has been a great show. Ben, I know you usually do the close-offs before you turn it over to Jordy. Anything else to say?
You said it best. Everybody, make sure you subscribe. Help us march to 1 million subscribers. And as Brett said, share our YouTube channel, share these videos, share the podcast with friends, families, coworkers, colleagues, anybody you know. It's important to spread the truth. Jordy.
Shout out to the Midas Mighty. Lock him up. Indictment season is upon us. Celebrate with the new Indictment season t-shirt and v-neck exclusively at store.MeidasTouch.com.